This episode of Legacy Curious is brought to you by Legacy Protectors. Customize insurance strategies for business owners and families who aspire to create a lasting legacy. Hello there, and welcome to Legacy Curious, the show where we explore what it really means to protect, grow, and pass on everything you've worked so hard to build. I'm your host, David Gravelle. I'm a life insurance strategist, business legacy coach, and founder of Legacy Protectors. Each episode, I sit down with the bold thinkers, entrepreneurs, and everyday visionaries who are turning their values into lasting impact in business, in life, and across generations. Today's guest is Ewelina Kurtys. Ewelina graduated in pharmacy and biotechnology in Poland. After having done research projects on different topics, pharmacology, microbiology, and neuroscience, and in different countries, Poland, Belgium, and Italy, Ewelina decided to pursue a PhD in neuroscience in the Netherlands, where she specialized in brain imaging. Since imaging really fascinated her, she continued her work in this field as a postdoc at King's College in London. Today, she's working with a biocomputing startup which uses living neurons as computation units. She works mainly in business development for commercial, scientific, and investment purposes. This project gives her the opportunity to learn about various applications of signal processing. Hello, Ewelina. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you so much. I hope you too.
Yeah, we're doing great here in Oklahoma City. Tell our audience where you're calling in from.
So I'm in Cambridge in England, a bit far away.
Okay, so you're an international guest, one of a handful that we've had. So we're real excited to talk to you. And when we get to it, the work that you do is just fascinating to me, and I'm sure our audience will feel the same way. But I just want to first start just to get to know you. Why don't you share with us where you were born and what it was like when you were a young person?
So I was born in Poland. I grew up in a small village in the northwest of Poland, and it was a very nice place. I had a big fruit garden. I mean, my parents had. So I grew up in nature, and it was really cool. And I always wanted to be a scientist. Actually, first I wanted to be a teacher. After I learned that there is possible to go further in academic research, in education, then when I heard about possibility to do a PhD, I thought it's for me. I remember first time I heard about this, I knew that I have to do this. And I was always fascinated actually with science, with knowing answers to big questions. I always wanted to know the secrets. I didn't want that life is, I don't like not to understand what is around me. So I searched for that. And after I decided to study, I went into biomedical direction. I studied pharmacy and biotechnology. And another dream which I had was to travel. So I always wanted to live abroad, at least for some time, and to see how it is. So I went to Belgium for studies. Then I went also to Italy. After I did my PhD in the Netherlands, and after that I came to England, where I'm here until now. I started here as a postdoc. I did academic research, and after I left academia, because I was also curious what is outside, what is in the real world. So I started to work first in a small company. After I set up my own company in England. And yes, that's the story since the childhood.
Yeah,
Yes,
that you covered a lot of ground there. So let's
yes.
dive in a little bit deeper on each parts of your life so far. What about the world that you found so curious? Was it nature? Is it numbers? Is it the structure of things? Why don't you talk a bit about that? What fascinates you? When you're studying your science topic. And
I think definitely nature. And I was really born as a pharmacist because I remember when I was a child, I was always fascinated that why some substance, it can be a powder, it can look the same, but one is poison, another is harmless. So it always fascinated me why things dissolve, why substance can change, the form. So I liked chemistry a lot, and And also a little bit biology. I think I went more in that direction because also at school, if you liked chemistry, that actually your option was chemistry and biology as a direction. So it was kind of connected always. And then I realized, pharmacy is perfect because it's a little bit combination of, you learn something about human physiology, but you had a lot of chemistry also. So, it's a mix. It was a good mix.
Okay, and so I'm imagining that you're discovering both inside and outside the lab, different things about the world around you, and how does that translate? How does what you learn, let's say in the lab, how do you take that out of the lab and maybe expand what you've learned, or discover new things?
I think what you learn in the lab is to explore and not to be afraid to do things you don't fully understand, or to not to be afraid to do something if you don't know how it finish, because in science it's a lot of that. So I think it's something what you take from the lab a lot, that you follow the unknown, and that you don't know how the project will end up, and there is a lot of risk. Maybe it will not work out at all. So I think that's something you learn. And you learn curiosity, and you learn a lot of independence, because I think if you are a researcher, it's good to be independent. And what I actually discovered about myself is that I like to be independent. I like to do things by myself. Don't like to be guided too much. So yes, when I was doing my research, I always did everything, try to do myself. Sometimes it cost me a lot of work, but I think it's cool. It's better to learn to stand on your own feet.
Yeah, well, I'm fascinated with the life of a scientist. I don't know much about it. So, from what I'm hearing, it's a very self-directed life. It involves taking risks, maybe trying things that you don't, like you said, you don't know what the outcome is. Who are some of the role models that, or people that you kind of, look for the courage to do that? I'll ask you that first, because it does seem like you just have to have a really strong sense of yourself in order to want to explore these areas and take let's say the potential criticism or pitfalls will come with failure.
Well, I think it's not that difficult, to be honest, because I think still that a scientist life is quite easy and comfortable. There are many jobs which are harder, I think, I have to say. But I think I had a chance to work with different people. I was working with many different projects as a master student, and also after when I was doing my PhD, it was multidisciplinary project with industry collaboration. So I was exposed to work with different type of people, so I could learn what I like, what I don't like, and I think that was always a good inspiration. Just observing people around me and making some conclusions what I would like for myself.
Okay, and so that kind of led you, to the company that you're working with now, and that you're, instrumental in its progress. Final Spark. Tell our audience a bit about that and what your role is there.
So I work with Final Spark on the commercial side. I'm still a neuroscientist. Okay, it's still, this work is closely to my expertise. However, I work more on a commercial side because when I started to work in industry, I discovered that sales, business development, and the marketing is perfect work for me. I love it. So I work mainly on this kind of commercial stuff. So my job is actually to establish external contacts. So including also journalists and podcasters, we try to communicate our work so that more people know about existence of biocomputing, because it's something new. And actually the primary reason, to be honest, why we do this is because we talk to investors, and we want that investors are not surprised that there is something like a biocomputing. So we want that they are familiar, that they will increase the chances that they trust that this project makes sense. So I talk also, yes, and also except for press, I also talk to investors. We also have many research collaborations. So we also, we have to establish some collaborations, scientific. We also surprisingly have first clients, although biocomputing, it doesn't work yet, but our laboratory is a great tool to play with neurons in vitro, to try to program them. And we have a lot of clients, big companies, and also startups who pay us also to get access to our laboratory. So I also take care on this. So yes, so all the commercial side, whatever is needed in the startup, it's also advantage of working in a startup that you can do kind of everything. What is needed. So that's that. If I wanted to code, I'm sure I also could do this, but I just don't like it too much. But I'm sure I would be allowed also to do research if I wanted. So that's great actually about this. That
Okay.
it's a lot
So
of
it sounds
variety.
like you're still really flexible as a company in order to, pivot or take on the direction
Yes,
of, let's say, investors or partners that approach you. So that's
yes,
kind of the
absolutely.
message. Yeah, I want our audience and the people watching this to kind of hear as well, is that, you're looking for ways to serve your technology to others in
Yes.
meaningful, and that could expand not only the science but the usefulness, right? And maybe speak to that. Tell us a bit about what it is that you do there and how you are kind of leading this area of new biocomputing.
So we try to build computers from living neurons. We take neurons the same as we have in our brains, but this is normal thing. They are widely used in the biomedical research. And what we do, we want to build computer from them. So we put neurons on the electrodes, and we try to send them electrical signals. And we measure the response because neurons are active electrically. They also can be triggered by chemical stimulation. So we also, for example, can programmatically release dopamine to neurons in vitro, so we can kind of give them reward. So it's all about trying to teach them something. So neurons also in our brain, they learn by rewiring the connections. So they change the connections between each other, and this is how we learn. And we would like to get the same process in vitro, in the dish, so that we can use them to process information. So they can, for example, recognize image or sounds or stuff like that. At this moment, we are very early. We just were able to store 1 bit of information, so it's very early. However, what is good that we have quite robust lab. It was we published a paper in Frontiers, which is actually in top 1% of paper read in this journal, and we described what we have in our lab. It's fully automated. It's available remotely. You can just sit at home, access the lab through the internet browser, and you can write Python code in programming language Python. You can write an experiment, how you stimulate neurons, what you do, each step, and then when you collect the data. So it's all can be automated. And this is actually a good thing because thanks to that, we have first clients. Although the final goal is not yet achieved, we don't have yet biocomputer, but people pay us to try. Also, what we try to do is to
Okay.
try to
So
program neurons.
is it other research institutions, let's say maybe universities, colleges around the world that would,
Yes.
maybe get access to your lab and remotely, do their own work and research?
Yes, absolutely. So first we invited universities to collaborate. We had 34 proposals. We are very strict, of course, to pick up the best one. We selected 9 universities. Now actually you have another one who would get free access, so they can access the lab for free. And all we want is just that they publish some scientific publication. And that we want, of course, that there is some work done on our hardware. But we also have clients. So private companies, private sector started to reach out to us and ask us, oh, can I use your lab? So we started to rent also. We have 2 types of subscription, is minimum 1 month. And people also from industry, they try to play with neurons. So it's not only for a scientific institution. So
Okay.
we are very
And
proud of this. It's very cool
yeah,
because
good for you.
we didn't expect to have clients so early.
Yeah, well, congratulations for that, and I'm encouraged by your work, and I'm happy that you're taking on this enterprise. So let me ask you how people watching might get involved. Typically what's the best way for them to get in touch with you or to engage? What does that process look like?
So it's very easy to find us on LinkedIn. It's very easy also to get in touch through the website, finalspark.com. We have different forms, contact forms for researchers, for investors. We are currently seeking 50 million Swiss francs, which is around $50 million for the next 10 years of the development. And you can also contact us if you're interested to rent our laboratory. So it's quite easy. It's possible to get access to the lab as a private client is very easy. As a university, it's a bit harder because we have to select, of course, because it's also a cost for us. So we select only projects which are very innovative. When people propose something what we didn't think about before, which sometimes people are coming with great ideas, but we know that we already tested them because we are in this field since 2018. So obviously we had more time, so we have advantage a bit. So sometimes it's frustrating, but unfortunately we can only accept people who try to figure out something we didn't think about yet. So yes, so it's a bit tricky, but we are also very open to discussion. If someone has ideas, comments, any kind of questions, we are always happy to answer. We also have a set of resources. If someone would like to read about biocomputing, then it's also possible to get from us. We try to provide different type of materials. So we have scientific paper, we have also blogs, which is more popular science. So we try to give people any type of content they want to understand what is biocomputing.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like your research is available for others to access and learn from, as well as
Yes.
bring new ideas on how to access your lab and maybe expand
Yes.
what you're doing. And so that's more of a collaborative nature. So great. Okay. So what would you say is the next steps? What comes next for Final Spark and for your work? What do you see the future, maybe the next 12 to 24 months looking like?
Well, we actually have quite a long timeline. So our next big challenge is learning in vitro, as I mentioned before. And this, we assume that once we find investor, it will take us 3 years to develop simple algorithm. At the moment, we are self-funded. So we are just 6 people. So everything gets slower, but with investment, we plan to extend our team, and then we can keep the timelines a bit more tight. So next 3 years would be learning in vitro. After next 3 years would be advanced algorithm, and another 3-4 years would be scaling. So making huge structures of neurons, even 100-meter longs, huge bioserver, something what would be available remotely, the same way as today you can access cloud computing. And that will be cheap computation power, because the reason why we want to use neurons is because they are 1 million times more energy efficient versus digital hardware. So they will be much cheaper to use. So that will be cheap AI.
Okay.
So that's the vision for the next 10
Okay, well,
years.
that sounds exciting.
In
Yeah,
10
we'll
years,
stay
yes.
tuned, and we'll look forward to having you back in the future to talk some more about that. So let's get to our $1 million question here, Ewelina, is, what do you foresee your legacy being, and what would you want to be remembered for through not only the work that you do, but the life that you've lived?
Actually, to be honest, I've been thinking about this, and I realized that I don't really care about being remembered, to be honest. I just want to do the good work as long as I live. But I think the most important is that future generation will learn based on our mistakes, but let's say collectively, not only mine. But I think what is important that we can learn more, that as a humans, we progress. We can learn more. For example, today we know much more about philosophy, about psychology. We have much better technologies than 100 years ago. So our life is much easier and nicer, I think, than in the past. So I think this is important. I would say this collective experience, which is passed to the next generation. But I individually don't really care, because I just feel like, if life is finished, then it's finished. You have to enjoy this as long as you can. And later, I think future generation, they should just enjoy their life also.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're going to, you want to be remembered by playing your part in the evolution of, not only knowledge, but, what's possible in the world.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, that's how I'll remember you. So I'll tell you right now, when I think about you, that's what I'll think about, as someone who, wanted their work to be valuable to others, and wanted it to be meaningful, and to be, contribute in the way that she could. So thanks for coming on the show and sharing that with us. As I said, we'll look forward to having you back and sharing some new and exciting, maybe breakthroughs or news that you have in the future. And it was wonderful to get to know you, and good luck with your work. And we'll encourage everyone to check out the description video where you have all your contact information, and get in touch. Okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you to our listeners and audience for spending time with us today on Legacy Curious. I hope this conversation gave you some insight, encouragement, or just that little spark you needed to keep you moving forward in your own legacy journey. If you got value from today's episode, please take a second to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone else who's building something that matters. And if you're ready to take that next step, protecting your business, planning for retirement, or passing on your legacy with purpose, head to legacyprotectors.life to schedule a conversation. Until next time, I'm your host, David Gravelle, reminding you to stay curious, stay committed, and keep building something worth passing on.